Hey everyone, Dom here. It's been 2 months now since we were given our first full look at Sonic Frontiers, and at the time the game looked pretty rough around the edges. But here we are, August 26, 2022, and since then we've seen more of Sonic Frontiers thanks to various gameplay showcases, interviews, and a new story trailer along with more gameplay at Gamescom. So let's talk Sonic Frontiers, shall we? So in this video I'd like to mainly focus on the new information we've received over the last few days, but I'll sum up some of the things we've learned about the game after the first IGN showcase. The first Sonic Frontiers showcase by IGN was actually portraying an earlier build, which makes a lot of sense. The game looked pretty bare bones and there were a few instances of some pop-in when traversing the world. Sonic's animations seemed unfinished and quite janky. I'm assuming this build was used to show off the game because it was the most stable one they had, but regardless, it didn't exactly give people a great first impression, myself included. The gameplay showcases after this one showed the game in a more stable state, though you can tell they were still ironing out some things. In one of these showcases we hear a mature, older voice guiding Sonic.
Use the gear as you have done before.
I believe this is the presumed rogue AI that is helping Sonic throughout the game, and she may turn out similar to Merlina from Sonic and the Black Knight, where she actually betrays him in the end, revealing herself to be the antagonist. We don't know what she exactly looks like, but it's speculated that this purple girl seen in the last Tails Tube video is her. This would make it the third time a woman with purple hair has misguided Sonic and betrayed him, which I find funny because everything about Frontier so far really reminds me of the storybook games. Moving on, in an interview with Sonic Team Director Takashi Iizuka, we learned that Sonic Frontiers will be a 30-hour plus game. I'm assuming this is based on the main story, cyberspace levels, and all the side quests. This would make Frontiers the longest Sonic game to date, with the previous game to hold this title being Sonic 06. Sonic 06 clocked in at 16 hours, and Frontiers is a massive far cry from the previous entry in the series, Sonic Forces, which clocked in at 4 hours. I'm pretty happy with this personally, as I'd love myself a long game, especially when it comes to Sonic. Around June, Sonic Frontiers was present at Summer Games Fest, although any coverage or access to the game was restricted to gaming journalists. Outsiders weren't supposed to see anything, but that doesn't stop Sonic fans. We got a few insanely low quality recordings of the first cutscene and some cyberspace levels. And it was here that we find out with further inspection that these levels are reusing assets from Generations. In this low quality recording, you can make out what looks to be Green Hill and Sky Sanctuary. Personally, this annoyed me, but not by much, although what we learn later on annoys me even more. Fast forward to this month, and it's been announced that Sonic Frontiers will be making an appearance at the upcoming Gamescom event on August 23rd. During the waiting time though, Twitter user InazuMag11 made a tweet that they reportedly saw a new Sonic Frontiers ad right before seeing Sonic 2 in Japan. They noted that the trailer contained Sonic running through the island with a somber and emotional narration, with the game's presumed vocal song kicking in midway through the trailer. And just a few hours later, footage of the ad was recorded and posted online. One interesting thing to note is that the narrator and voice of Sage heard in the ad is Megumi Hayashibara. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but she's an iconic voice actress who has voiced in plenty of iconic anime works, most notably portraying Rei Ayanami in Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm a huge fan of Evangelion, so this news left me pretty happy. She's a phenomenal voice actress, and I think it's a super great move on Sega's part. Sonic was initially designed for Western audiences, and the character never exactly had a grip on audiences in Japan like he has in America or elsewhere. Having a super big name attached to Sonic is only but a good thing, and it could be useful in helping the brand and Frontiers reach a wider audience over there. August 23rd was here, and we finally got our first major trailer. It gives us some insight on the game's story, shows us some pretty nice CG animation, and a bit of a peek at the cyberspace levels. The trailer begins with a small Coco roaming around with Sonic swooping in to protect it. Sage proclaims that Sonic's reckless actions are endangering the world, and we get a better look at the unnamed city level, along with Green Hill and Sky Sanctuary. We get a glimpse at the desert island, one of the 5 islands in the game. Soon after, we see Sonic find Amy in what looks to be a prison of sorts, but before he's able to do anything, he's surrounded by a bunch of enemies. Something to take note of in this trailer is that Sonic's arm seems to be glitched or corrupted, and it looks like it's causing him pain. We're sure to find out what's going on soon enough, but I'm predicting that it's like the flame of judgment, from Sonic and the Secret Rings. A curse that is said to drain the person's life force until they eventually die. Sonic may be on a time limit once again here. I also wanted to bring up how Roger Craig Smith sounds here. We only hear a single line, but it looks like the voice direction for the games has changed quite a fair bit, and according to people who have played the public demo, that they didn't recognize him in the cutscenes that they saw. I've always been a Ryan Drummond or Jason Griffith guy, but I really think all Roger needs is a good script and good direction. This game seems to have good direction and dialogue, and I believe this game will be where Roger finally gets to shine. Sonic Frontiers will be to Roger what Unleashed and Black Knight were to Jason, and what Sonic Adventure 2 was to Ryan. There's not really much else in the trailer, but I'm pretty excited to hear Roger's performance in this game. Later on at Gamescom, we get to learn more about the game through various recordings from attendees. No longer will we have to rely on 144p recordings, as this is a public demo and people are actually able to record it. We get a look at some of the bosses, cutscenes, more of the overworld, and the cyberspace levels. At the previous event, players saw what looked to be the drop dash, but it was hard to make out due to the quality of the recording. Here we have it confirmed, along with the bounce move from Sonic Adventure 2, 06, and Lost World. It's awesome to have both of these moves making their return, though the addition of the drop dash confuses me because there's not exactly much momentum in Frontiers, on top of the fact that Sonic doesn't have a spin dash nor roll mechanic. Odd choice, but I welcome it. The in-game cutscenes seem to be better than Forces by a good margin. The cinematography, animations, and composition seen so far has been pretty good, and Ian Flynn's dialogue is looking to be pretty in character, which is a great thing. It's a huge step up from Forces, where the characters just kinda sat around and did nothing. So I'm excited to see more of these in the final game, and as I said earlier, I'm also excited to hear Roger's performance in them. Now that we got all that out of the way, it's time to address the elephant in the room, cyberspace. Thanks to people present at the event, we've gotten a better look at these stages beyond the previously released story trailer, and this is where I have issues. We know Sonic Team is reusing stage themes, okay, fine, wish it wasn't that way, but it's whatever. We find out these stages are shorter in length, okay, expected. Cyberspace levels are basically the special stages of Sonic Frontiers, so I expected them to be shorter and more bite-sized. It's also like this to work with Sega's intended gameplay loop, along with the fact that having shorter stages allows them to produce even more of them. Cyberspace includes 35 plus levels. My issue with all of this is that Sonic Team is reusing level designs from previous games. Green Hill is reusing the level design from Windmill Isle Act 1 from Unleashed. It's a tutorial level, but games like Colors and Generations didn't need to recycle level design because they were tutorial levels. But it's just one level. But then we come to find out that Chemical Plant is also reusing level design, this time from its iteration seen in Generations. To me, it just comes off as lazy. People are defending this with, oh, cyberspace has you going through Sonic's memories. But it's made as an excuse to reuse these stage designs, and even then this same plot thread was explored better 11 years prior with superior level design. So why would I want to play on an inferior version of a game I can already play? I hope it's not a common theme throughout cyberspace, and I hope it's only these 2 levels. We saw a look at Sky Sanctuary, and its level design was actually completely original. The level design was definitely a step up from Forces, but not quite on the level of Unleashed. But it's fine. This issue I have doesn't kill my hype for the game. I don't think it's bad because of it. The main dish of Sonic Frontiers is the open world and the combat, and that's where I'm most looking forward to. And it looks pretty solid thus far. The cyberspace levels are like special stages, and while I'm bummed out about them, they aren't the main part of the game. And that's all we have for today. Despite some shortcomings, I'm still eagerly awaiting Sonic Frontiers, and I believe it will turn out to be a decent game. There's more good than bad here, and I'm pretty excited. Though before we close this video off, I'd like to discuss an issue with Sonic Frontiers outside of the game itself, and that's how the community has been acting in discussions regarding it. There are two major sides to how the community has been with Frontiers. There's the toxic positivity group who will shut you down and shit on you if you even dare make any criticisms, amounting you to complaining about nothing. And there's the toxic negativity group who tries to diminish any hype one may have for the game, practically insulting you, trying to make you feel ashamed for even looking forward to it, acting as if their stance is definitive fact. I think both sides are incredibly toxic, and Frontiers discourse is the worst I've seen for a Sonic game in a very long time. Sonic Frontiers is not perfect, and there are parts of the game that can be justifiably criticized. Do not shut them down. People are still allowed to be excited about Sonic Frontiers. Do not insult or belittle them just because they like something you don't. Do not act as if your opinion is fact. I hope eventually we as a community can move away from this behavior so we're allowed to have peaceful and worthwhile discussions. And that about wraps up the video. If you liked what you saw, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Any form of support, whether it be a like, comment, subscriber, or sharing my videos means so much to me, and it motivates me to continue pumping out more stuff for you all. I'm Dom, or DPlex, and I hope you have a good one.